Welcome back, my students, to another episode of Comic Class, and in today's lesson, guys, we're looking at IDW's TMNT 2011 Volume 5 Krang War. And yeah, it's been about a week since I dropped my last video. I wasn't able to get this review out last week as I have been dealing with a lot of stuff. So I'm sorry about the slow uploads, but I'm still going to be getting content out for you guys, and I'm hopefully going to be getting a ton more videos out in the next week or so, so just bear with me, guys. But yeah, let's talk today about TMNT 2011 Volume 5 Krang War. Without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story starts off with Krang launching an assault on the planet of Nitrion, I think is what it's called. And yeah, a giant war is breaking out between, Krang's people and the people of Nutrion or Nitrion. And the king, queen, princess, and the bodyguard basically realize that they have to go get Professor Honeycutt, who is the Fugitoid, which if you've ever seen the original Mirage comics, which if you haven't already, go check out my retrospective on the original Mirage run. The Fugitoid is one of my favorite characters, and yeah, he's going to make an appearance in this volume. So they basically head out. The bodyguard heads out with his people to go try to find the Fugitoid to save their planet from Krang. Now, after that, we get to see the Ninja Turtles basically talking with Splinter, and Splinter basically tells them about having to, train to get stronger, and also they have to work on their development skills, emotionally, because of all the stuff they dealt with in the last volume. If you haven't already, go check out Volume 4. It was amazing. It was an amazing volume, and it had a very big moment for Leonardo and Michelangelo, as well as Donatello and Raphael, but mostly Leonardo and Michelangelo took a major hit emotionally in the last volume. So now Splinter wants them to deal with that and get stronger as a team, as well as have Casey and April become stronger as a team with the Turtles as well, and him. So after that's all done, we get to see that Krang has brought Baxter Stockman to the island where he's at, basically, and he basically, has also shown him the area of the neutrons or nitrions, and basically says that he's going to overtake their planet, and this planet, the Nitrion planet, whatever, is, I believe, in Dimension X. So hopefully we get to see more Dimension X in the future. But yeah, so they basically have this funny moment with Baxter Stockman getting sick over the instantaneous space-time travel that's happening with Krang's ship. So that was pretty funny. I just love the line where he said, to stand further back from him, he doesn't want it to throw up on his shoes again, or his, whatever he's wearing, Krang, his feet, I guess. And so that was funny. Now we get to see that Karai basically is told by Shredder why she hasn't obtained Leonardo yet, and he basically tells, she basically tells him that she has a plan on how to get more of that mutagen that Krang has, to make more powerful soldiers. Just Shredder realizes that in order to fight the Turtles and, not have to fight himself, he's going to need more stronger soldiers in his Foot Clan, more mutated soldiers. So that goes on. So Karai's going on a little mission. Now we get to see that April basically talks to, I think his name's Alan, I think it's Chet. And Chet, is basically nervous because April's trying to get information out of him on what exactly is happening with Baxter Stockman and this type of mutagen experimenting that they did on the Turtles and Splinter, and the other experiments that have been escaping Baxter Stockman's lab. Like that white fox-looking character that we saw. I think he was in Volume 3. And Chet is about to explain what happens whenever, the Turtles and Casey, who are hiding and watching April talk to Chet, have to come out because the Nutrions or Nitrions, they show up and they basically grab Chet and say that they need to bring him back to, his home world. And this will reveal to that Chet isn't from Earth. And more will get revealed in a little bit. So yeah, so April gets saved by Casey, who she kind of feels like she could have taken care of herself because she has been studying fighting from Casey. Casey's been teaching her, and the Turtles get transported with the Nitrions with Chet, and they leave to another world, and they arrive in, I think, Nitrion, or Nitron, and it's an amazing scene, and it's reminiscent of when the turtles got sent to the Triceratons planet, or it wasn't the Triceratons planet, it was where the Fugitoid was running away from in the original Mirage comic. So this is definitely a homage to that, considering that the Fugitoid is part of the story arc. So the turtles have to fight their way out of this situation. They're basically getting attacked from all angles, and eventually they want to join forces with the people that have kind of like kidnapped them or got them sent to this planet. But before we can see what happens, and we get to learn that Chet is actually a Fugitoid, just so you know. Before we can see what's going to happen with them teaming up with the Nitrions, we get to see that the princess of the Nitrions basically is getting kidnapped by one of Krang's henchmen. Now, Michelangelo basically says that he will save her, and he basically takes out the henchman and grabs her from a flying spaceship, and basically, just saves her basically. But it turns out that the henchman actually had gotten her mom and dad, so it seems like we're gonna have to rescue them. So that's cool. Now, April goes to talk to one of the scientists that are working at Baxter Labs, called Lindsay, and it's really cool because we get to see, April kind of try to use some acting skills to get some information out of Lindsay. So we have that whole plot point going on, and we get to learn that Karai basically is, seeing what's happening with April and Lindsay, and she gets to learn where Krang's hideout on Earth is, not in Dimension X, but on Earth. So she's going to be heading over there, it seems. Now, Chad basically reveals that he is the Fugitoid, and the Fugitoid is gold in this version, which was pretty interesting. And even, Michelangelo says sick. And they all have a surprised expression on their face because, they had no idea that Chet was a robot. I mean, I had no idea. If you've seen my reviews of the other 4 volumes so far, I never would have suspected that Chet was the Fugitoid. So good job on Kevin Eastman and Tom Watts. But this is where we get to learn the history from the Fugitoid about what happened with Krang and his father. And apparently Krang's father was all about domination. And it got to the point where he was warned by the Fugitoid, I believe, and his people were warned, him and his people, that if they continued the path that they were going, that they were going to wipe themselves out. And this was what led to the death of Krang's father. Now, I will say that I really enjoyed that we get to learn that Krang is keeping his people alive, barely, and they want a new planet to make into, the Ultron's planet, home planet. So they're going to try making Earth this place, similar to the plot of Man of Steel. For anyone that's ever seen that movie, it's very similar to what General Zod was going to do to Earth. They're kind of like going to try terraforming it, I guess, with the Technodrome. We'll see when that, we're probably going to get more about that in the next volume. But we get to learn that Krang's dad did die this way, his father. And I really did enjoy how Krang's father's battle suit kind of looks like the original Krang from the 1987's cartoon. And I really enjoyed that. That was a really cool Easter egg. But we get to see that, Krang basically puts a live broadcast on, I forget what it's called. I think it's Nitrion, their planet. He basically tells everyone that they need to, surrender themselves, surrender the Fugitoid, and he will not kill their king and queen. So the turtles realize they have to team up with the princess and her bodyguard and her, whole people, their army, to go infiltrate and save the king and queen, and also take down Krang to stop him from taking down, the Earth, taking over the Earth. Now, they have no idea about the Technodrome, about what Baxter Stockman is doing for Krang, so hopefully that's the plot point for the next volume. But yeah, so we get to see that Karai basically shows up at Krang's base, and I think it's the Burnow Islands or something. I think that's what it's called. And she basically is just murking people. She's killing dudes, which really surprised me. Eventually, she grabs one dude by the throat and tells him that he needs to take her to where Krang's, having all of his mutagen, slash, Krang family. And yeah, so he's taking her there. And while that's going on, we can see that the princess gets into some battle gear. And the bodyguard insists that the princess not go into battle with them, but she basically pulls rank on him and says since she has a higher rank, she's going to do whatever she wants. So Michelangelo basically tells the bodyguard that he's going to try his best to keep her protected, leaving him and the bodyguard, Leonardo and the bodyguard, to just facepalm with, Leonardo basically, swearing in that. So that's pretty funny. We also get to see that Raph and the Hothead or a hot-headed one, I guess you say, the guy that goes in action first of the group that actually wants to take on Crane right away. That the leader had to kind of tell him, chill out, and kind of like show him his place. He basically is hitting it off with Raph, and they're gonna go into battle. And I really enjoyed this little moment with Leonardo basically telling Raphael to be safe. It shows that they do have fights with each other, but they do care about each other at the end of the day, and they are brothers. So they're all trying to do their own part. Leonardo and Michelangelo are going in to try to save the king and queen. Donatello is going to be working with Professor Honeycutt / the Fugitoid, as well as one of his scientist friends. And Raphael is going on the front lines in this war against Crane. So it's going to be dangerous. But yeah, so we jump into Karai basically getting the guy to use his keycard to open the door for, Crane's family and this lab with all the mutagen, and she basically kills this dude. It's like in cold blood. It's like so brutal. And yeah, it looks like Karai is stealing one of the mutagen tubes or something, or she's gonna cut out some of the mutagen that is actually keeping Crane's family alive. So Crane's gonna be like really mad when he figures out what happened with Karai and the mutagen and his people. So we get to see that a giant like explosion because the war begins, and Krang is like freaking out, not believing that the the Nitrions, or whatever they're called, are actually going to take him on head on. He has no idea about the turtles being there. So the battle begins, and we get to see everyone go into action. We get this really cool multi-panel action scene, / story scene, story progression scene, and it's just an amazing moment. Now the battle begins with Krang, and Krang just goes full on, trying to kill these dudes. And Michelangelo and Leonardo are doing their best to stay alive, as well as keep the princess safe. And the princess is fighting back as well, and I thought that was really cool. We also get this really cool moment with Donatello talking with the Fugitoid, and get this really good moment for Donatello's character where the Fugitoid basically tells him that even though it might not seem that what Splinter was saying, with reincarnation might not have any scientific basis, there is always a chance that what they can understand at the moment is not what they can understand in the future. Therefore, maybe there is a basis scientifically, but you just can't find it yet. And maybe right now all you need is just a little faith and to look at things a little more clearly. And it's an amazing moment because it shows the experience that Honeycutt has over Donatello and the stuff that he has seen and witnessed and experienced. And I really enjoy moments like this when an older character can pass on some type of wisdom to a younger character. And the expression on Donatello's face is just an amazing moment, and shows that this really did impact him, because he's been hearing these things from all his brothers, his father as well, people that are very spiritually aware, or like that don't really care about anything, pretty much. Kind of like Raphael, I wouldn't say he's like the most spiritual, but it's not the most scientific either. And Michelangelo is he just doesn't care, he's more party like. But Leonardo is definitely spiritual in that, and Donatello's supposed to be scientific. They all have a balance. But I really love this moment because it showed that he heard it from someone that looked at the world the way he did. But this guy has seen a lot, and he's letting Donatello know that there's more than what we usually see in the future. You'll find out more in the future, basically. And hopefully Donatello will find his answer with this whole reincarnation thing in the future. But yeah, jumping forward, we get to see that some of Crane's henchmen that are working for him find out that one of the Ultrons, died. And this is basically bad news. Crane is going to kill them when he figures out that someone actually came in, stole some of the mutagen that is keeping some of his people alive, basically the last of his people, and now one of them's dead. So this isn't looking good, and Karai has made her escape, and leaving this guy to basically face the wrath of Crane when he finds out what happened with his fallen brothers and sisters. It looks like only one died, but still, these are the last of their race. So Crane's definitely going to be mad, and we can definitely see Crane's people going to war with Shredder's people is definitely happening soon because of what Karai just did. But jumping forward, we get to see that Michelangelo and Leonardo basically taking on Crane. And eventually the princess actually lands a blow with one of the Nitrion's weapons and blasts off Crane's arm. which Crane basically attacks the princess right back, like not even hesitating, with Michelangelo freaking out saying princess and basically attacking Crane, but just getting swatted away like nothing. Crane is really strong in this battle stages. You have to remember the turtles have like superhuman strength. They're like mutated turtles. They're like over regular human size, if I'm correct. Barely. They're not like monsters like in Hold size and the monsterly huge like in the Michael Bay movies, I guess you could say. But yeah, so basically Leonardo basically tells Michelangelo not to quit, and that Michelangelo even says that there's nothing that they can do to stop him, basically. But Leonardo and Michelangelo launch a team attack, and they do a good amount of damage on Krang, but it's not enough to defeat him. Krang's just too strong. Now we get to see that the war is going on with Raphael and one of the members of the princess's army, and they basically see the weapon that Donatello, the Fugitoid and his scientist friend were able to make to shut off all of Krang's henchmen's weapons. And Raphael comes in with the save when one of the drones, controlled by one of the Ultrons, it seems, or maybe is like an AI of Krang. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. It's like some type of machinery, like droid thing, and he basically gets stopped by Raphael shooting it with one of the Nitron's blasters. It was like a rocket launcher type thing, and Donatello's machine, all of their machine, the scientist's machine, go off and turn off all the weapons of Krang's henchmen. And it looks like the battle is won for the turtles, with Raphael even saying that he never thought that he would be so happy to see a ton of super nerds in a space car. And it's just a really funny scene between the brothers, and that's one good thing the series has done, is blend its comedy with its action. Now Professor Honeycutt, the Fugitoid, arrives with Donatello, Raphael, and the rest of the princess's army, or the king and queen's army, I guess is a better way to say it. And they basically say that they've won the battle and that Krang has been defeated as they turn off all of the frequencies that have his weapons, so now they can't use them. But Krang reveals something, that he actually doesn't use the same frequency as his army, because he kind of like is a super genius, it seems, and was able to actually predict this could happen. So he basically says that even though he can't take out all of y'all, he's going to take out some of y'all. Basically, he's going to kill them. Basically pointing his gun cannon at Michelangelo. And this is where the Fugitoid decides to sacrifice himself and go with Krang to help him build the Technodrome. That's the whole point why Krang wanted the Fugitoid, is he's smart enough and he has knowledge enough about machinery and future tech, I guess you say, or their type of technology, to finish the Technodrome. So we'll see if he actually does that, because he knows that the turtles are now like his friends. He cares about them, especially Donatello. So my guess is he's gonna try to sabotage the Technodrome, but we'll see what happens in the next volume. So Fugitoid basically leaves and tells Donatello that he needs to do this, that he's not going to have anyone die because he didn't go with Krang. He's not going to have that on his hands, and he basically goes with Krang, and they leave without killing anybody. So it looks like the day is saved, the king and queen are saved, the princess can go back to being just a regular princess, and all her bodyguards and army seem to have survived. There were probably some casualties, but we don't really get to see them. But I mean, it was a flat-out war. I mean, it was a war zone. I didn't show every panel of action in here because I don't do that. I want you to go read it yourself. I always recommend you go read the comic yourself. These videos are not to supplement you reading the material yourself. Nothing will ever beat reading a comic yourself, in my opinion. So that's not what these videos are for. So trust me when I say there's a lot of action in this. You need to go check it out. Gotta go read it yourself. So Michelangelo gets a kiss for the princess on the cheek, and he has a pretty happy expression about it, very happy about this. And they basically thank, the king and queen and princess thank the turtles for what they've done, and are just glad that they were able to help out. The turtles were glad they were able to help out the king and queen and princess, so everything worked out in the end for both parties involved. Now we get to see that Casey and April are pretty much sad about what happened with the turtles. They share a moment with each other, about to share a kiss, when the turtles come back, basically are, portaled back to Earth from Dimension X, from the old, Nitrion planet. And the story ends with, Casey Jones and April basically welcoming back the turtles, and we get to see Splinter basically arrive, super happy to see his sons. Leonardo essentially gives him a hug saying father, and he says, Splinter basically says, my sons, is it really you? And Leonardo ends the book saying, yes, sensei, and wait till we tell you where we've been. Basically hinting that he's going to tell him about the events of this whole volume that they had. All the stuff that him and his brothers had to go through. And the people that they saved. They saved an entire planet, basically, from Krang's invasion and his takeover. Which is a really good feat, and it feels really good that they were able to do something like this on their own without their father. I think that was the whole message of this volume, was them working together as a team. This was the first moment in the series that we got to see them work on their own without their father at all, and I thought it was really well done, and I really do enjoy this, and hopefully get more stories like this in the future, in future volumes. But that was TMNT, IDW TMNT 2011, Volume 5, Krang War. This was a great volume, guys, as always, it seems, with this series. This series is just full of quality, and I really enjoy it. It definitely is a great supplement for the Mirage series. After you read Mirage, I do recommend you go check this out, and vice versa. If you've never read the Mirage series, go check that out as well. I have a whole playlist doing the entire canon story, everything written by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Like I said, I'm sorry I haven't had that many videos out recently, but I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. And I do have to take care of myself. I do love making videos, and I have seen that I have been gaining subscribers, so I know there's people that have been wanting new videos, and I'm sorry if they're not as common as they should be, or that y'all would like, but hopefully in the future things get way more consistent and I'm able to get more videos out. But I do have videos planned, and there are going to be some good videos coming out in the next few weeks. Like I said, I'm trying to get at least 2 volumes out, one Batman volume from the 2011 series, New 52, one Ninja Turtle volume covering this series. I do have other videos planned out, such as the Spider-Man series by Ned Spencer. I do need to get the newest volume reviewed, Chameleon Conspiracy, so that should be out hopefully next week. I need to read that, as well as getting caught up with Batman and the Superman ongoing series that are going on right now. So I can make videos on those, because Fear State is coming really soon. I believe it drops in August or September. So I do want to talk about that when those are coming out, those issues. So yeah, hopefully in the next month or so, we're going to get a lot more consistency on the channel. And I hope you guys share the channel around on social media, such as Twitter, to gain followers, to gain more people, so that we can talk about these comics, these volumes, these single issues, whatever it is we're talking about on the channel, be it discussions as well. That way we have a community to talk about these things that we love, and we can just share our love for comics and talk about comics, because that's always fun. But that's gonna be all, guys. Until next video, God bless you, and until the next lesson, keep on reading those comics.